Hi, I'm Daz. On the bench today is something I saw at a radio rally and couldn't resist bringing it home with me. This is a Teleton portable FM AM radio. Very unusual design. I suppose you could almost stand it upright like that and listen to it. It's just an interesting design. Nice tuning scale this side and tuning knob and volume. I bought it. The audio was very faint, but I've since tried it again, and what happened is that the audio has faded away. Medium wave and FM were both functional, but exceedingly weak audio. Now fortunately, it's got all the accessories with it. Here's the earpiece. When I was a boy, I remember these damn things well. I remember constantly repairing them. The cables would break, and not the nicest thing to have stuck in your lug. But the interesting thing is, I've got the manual, and if I flip the manual around the other side, you'll see that I've actually got a circuit diagram. So that's very useful to help us find where the fault is. So taking a quick look inside the set, it's a 10 transistor set, and it's no transformers in this set at all, but noticing that it's a 40 ohm loudspeaker, so it's still a compromise. It appears to be all silicon, although the first reference to this 2SB56 I looked up suggested it actually was germanium, and I thought, well, I've never seen an output stage with half germanium, half silicon in it, so further search said it was silicon. The good thing is that this set's got really good AF drive. There's 4 transistors around the audio amp, and there's actually 3 IF stages for FM, which is really good. So I reckon this will be a live little set when it is properly working. You might notice it's got these very strange looking resistors in. They're almost like blob resistors. I haven't seen them for a long while. I don't know the age of this set yet, but I'm guessing this is still probably early 70s. I may be wrong, but so anyway, I'm going to try and identify some of the components and make some basic voltage checks. Perhaps I'll start in the audio amplifier first and just check the bias is correct. And there is also, I noticed a supply, is it coming up? Yeah, a supply decoupled via resistor for the rest of the set. It makes you wonder if that capacitor is leaking heavily and shunting the power away, but I bet it's not that simple. Set's currently working with it out of the case. I'll be having a look at, there's some tape on the telescopic area. I'll be looking to just make sure it hasn't short-circuited, but the voltage to the RF stage is it's increased slightly now. It's 4.8, but I'm pretty certain that should be nearest to about 7-8 volts. So either the radio section's drawing too much current, or that 220 microfarad capacitor, decoupling capacitor, is indeed leaky. The set was actually drawing 40 milliamps, and that is damn high for a battery set running off a PP3, so I think I'll investigate and see if the capacitor is leaking. So having removed that decoupling capacitor for the radio section, the supply rail has now gone up to 7.7 volt with a new capacitor, so that's obviously leaky. And looking at the analysis, it's got a very bad ESR, and the capacitance is reading like 4 times what it should be, so it's probably very leaky. So I guess it's going to be a case of going through and checking every capacitor in this radio. Okay, so I ended up doing a total recap. Capacitors of note: the output the output coupling capacitor to the loudspeaker, or the DC blocker, that was over 20 ohms ESR, so that was no good. Indeed, this decoupling capacitor here was very leaky. The main one across the battery wasn't too bad, but there was some leakage. There's some other small capacitors, they weren't really leaky, but the values had changed. So yeah, so it's basically a recap job. Just looking at the circuit here, it's just very conventional, isn't it? RF amp, FM oscillator converter, first IF stage, further IF stage, conventional discriminator using a pair of diodes, intercoupling capacitors, power amp, traditional push-pull, a driver and an AF amp round to the volume control, and the AM ferrite rod coupled in, AM converter, so it's a self oscillator. And there's the first IF for the 455 or whatever it is. It's probably around that. And you can see again with this set that the 455 AM and the 10.7 for FM are in series because they don't affect each other. But there is an extra FM stage here before it goes to the discriminator, and the sensitivity is very, very good on this radio, so that's why. Just looking inside what we've got here, so that's the oscillator coil for the AM. Here's the two IF coils for the AM at 455. There's the detector one, and you can just see a diode there. It might not show up very well, but there is a diode that side. These inductors are the 10.7, or transformers should I call them to be technically correct. Round to here, and there you can see a couple of diodes for the FM discriminator, and this is your AF stage, and the switch switches over between the two, outputs the detector and also powers up the relevant parts of the circuit, turning off the FM or AM converter as the switch is flicked back. So it's all very simple stuff really. Overall I think a really nice radio, definitely worth the cost of some capacitors to put in. Just see what it sounds like, some standard YouTube music. A little bassless, I must admit. But quite listenable. Quite loud really when it's considering it's got a 40 ohm speaker. Anyway, thanks for watching. Sorry it wasn't a more interesting video. It's just capacitors in this case. And I'll see you soon.